Phoenix of the team.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We got another episode of Chart Talk coming at you, approaching episode 100 real soon. No one thought we could. We knew we could. I didn't know we could.
Wow.
Let's jump right into the market outlook. We've been dealing with an absolute feast these past few weeks. So last time we talked to you guys was 2 weeks ago when we were expecting the pull-in. We were looking for that pull-in into the Fed meeting. And I'm looking at August 18th. And we actually got that pull-in and then perfectly bounced right off that trend line the following day. After a gap down, stocks got bought up. And since then, we've been dealing with this vicious uptrend the past 3, 4, 5, 6, past 8 days. We had a kind of a big economic announcement sort of thing. We've been speaking ad nauseum about the biggest risk to this market right now is the Fed tapering in their asset purchases and eventually raising interest rates. So Friday at the Jackson Hole conference, Fed Chair Jerome Powell spoke, and he said something that no one really saw coming was we're going to taper the asset purchases by the end of the year, but that doesn't mean we're going to hike interest rates just yet. So no one really saw that coming, and the market loved that news. So since then, we've just been on a tear the past 2 days since we got that, and there's just been some great trading action. And I don't really know much else to say other than, ride the trend higher until we see some drastic changes. What are you thinking over there?
Yeah, I know the one thing we were keeping an eye on, we were getting a little shaky about was like the small caps. Again, this is about a week and a half ago when they first started to kind of test the 200-day and come into major support, and that was like a deciding point of is it going to roll back over and break, lower, break support, or hold and still continue to consolidate. And again, it did, broke the 200-day for all of one day and kind of snap right back. So it's still in that big bull flag, which was good to see. We do see the biotechs again retesting the prior all-time highs, kind of flagging there, which is a good sign to see. We see tech, new all-time highs with clear pivot lows to get out. Great sign. Same with NASDAQ. Same thing, very clear pivots. We see the REITs finally broke out today. They've been flagging for a little bit through that high, which is another great sign to see. And again, like you said with the SPY, just riding that trend up. Every little pullback is getting bought up higher. So we're seeing a lot of just good action overall as we get to the near the end of the summer.
So now this is my thinking because, I'm a skeptic. So funny how last 2 weeks of trading in the market, right? It's like these are the most quiet weeks of the year almost, maybe with Christmas. And that's when they start to ramp up things. So now I think they just pull the rug after Labor Day. I have no reasoning for that other than I just think that's how they'll do it.
Yeah. Well, there's been I always feel like in the end of August, we always get like a little scary correction in. But it's like some years we get them. I'm looking back at, when was it? We were still at T3 at the time.
Bleep that out.
Well, I can't pull it up right now, but I'll do it next time. But there was a couple summers where we get those little scary 10% drops and then it get bought back up. But I'm just having trouble finding which year it was. But we'll see what happens. I mean, for now, as long as the SPY stays above that most recent pivot versus at 436, it's that's a clear sign to de-risk or raise some cash. But as long as we stay above that, everything seems to be just keeping it what's been working for so long. All right, Shake, with that, you want to get some of the top ideas for the week?
Sure. I guess I'll just run through. I mean, a lot's gone recently, so I'm in most of the names I like the most, but there's still a lot of things out there that have opportunity, I believe. So I'm just going to run through a bunch of things. I think this DoorDash right here, I really wanted to see a lot more daily consolidation. It's still, pretty sloppy on the daily. It's very wide and taily. True support, I guess, is down here at, 173, but the level is clearly 195. So maybe we could buy this 195 against a recent pivot low, get at 186. I think that one looks really good. I had a great buy in this Airbnb today. I think this one is just getting started. We saw the huge explosive move last week when they said they were going to house the refugees out of Afghanistan. That was a nice little PR move. Who knew that would be a catalyst? But now it pulled in right to that previous resistance area, and I've been buying it off this support right here. I think this one turns up higher. DLO. Recent IPO, software name, huge growth, big gap up. So now it looks like it's going to come test the bottom end of this range on the gap up. So I'm looking for a pullback entry. I wanted to break these lows at 60. And if we could turn this 56 area, 58 area into new support, I'll look for a pullback buy in that for sure. This Wayfarer. So this Wayfarer, we've been staring at this weekly, monthly chart. Huge consolidation. So I bought some a few days ago. I've been sitting in it forever, but I've bought some more on that pivot right there. Since then, we've got 2 really tight inside days. I'm thinking about adding through that 294 area tomorrow if it shapes up really well. CTAS, just a beautiful macro flag here. What's the trigger here? 395, 396, 397 area. Really nice flag. And then this Lennar. This Lennar looks really nice. So this is a textbook. The curve. Textbook cup and handle on the daily, really. We see the cup right here. We see the handle shaping up. Right, schmear. So, through this 109 area, that looks really, really good tomorrow. And then I got a few more, but I'll save some. This S box is the last one I want to talk about. Just a really, really nice support area for the uptrend. Hanging on to this 200 or 100-day moving average for dear life. Clear trigger at 116. Clear stop below those pivots around 113.50. This is much more of a macro trade, but it's shaping up really, really well. What are you thinking? What do you like over there?
All right, I have a few I'll go through. First up, I'll start with this snap. Just been flagging here in this $10 range between 70 and 80. A lot of members have been in this for a while. This will be one I bought 80, most recently, but I'll be waiting to add it through 80. But in this flag, and nice little range to trade again. That break through 80, the move higher would be about $10 higher to 90. So that's a little short-term target. Just keep an eye on this UPS. Again, a name you and I have both been in for some time. I recently added more. This was on, I guess, August 16th up to that 195. And we can still see it. It's still same thing, kind of basing out here. And I'll be looking to buy up through this 199, 200 area for it to eventually retest at 220. Another one is this GL up through 98. We can see here that, again, that 98 level has been some resistance for quite some time. Again, it's a soft level. It has broken it in the past, but the last month or so it has been holding, pretty nicely underneath it. So I'll look to buy up through that first and most recent pivot low, which for now is verse 94, and I'll be looking to hold that at least to the retest of 108. Let's see. Next up, we have this MSA, which is just
This is one of the ones I left off. I love this.
Yeah, I think you actually put this on the shakedown a while ago, and I just kept it on like one of my watch lists, and it's just been kind of getting tighter and tighter. So I'll be looking to buy up through that 162 half area, and then again, trying to get into a position to be prepared for that 172 kind of all-time high breakout. So that's another one. AFLAC was the big picture idea of the week through this 58 all-time high, and one of the members actually called it. I didn't zoom out far enough, but this has been a level going back to 2019, so definitely a very significant level. On some tight risk, kind of verse 55. Honeywell still setting up through that 235 area, verse 225. Keep an eye on that. MTB, similar to that. GL.
Holy shit.
Through that one. Oh, that's got to be like a. It's a yeah. Someone bought it at.
What a day!
Yeah. So obviously that candle is not accurate.
No,
but
the real low of day is 138.67.
Yeah. So yeah, that through 131 through 144. What else? MEDP through 185. Again, it's been flagging since June now. For now, you have to kind of give it a little more than $10 versus kind of 174, unless you want to trade it really tight versus 180. And then last but not least is this BBY. Another one just keeping a close eye on. I took a trade in it a while back in May. Just wasn't ready. I think this 125 in time. Just a very big, big bull flag at highs that should send us to kind of 150-ish or higher. So there's some of the names I'm keeping an eye on.
Love it.
All right. So with that, you want to get into good and bad trade?
Yeah, I got let me get a bunch to run through right here. So good trade. I mean, this Apple gave us a really nice trade. I only bought a feeler in this Friday. We traded really well out of the base the first time, early August. So then Friday, I was looking at it, and I only bought a feeler in it. I didn't really give me a chance to load up, so I bought a little feeler, 148 versus those lows. And I was forced to kick something to the thread today. It just exploded, so that's looking really good. I keep mentioning this Airbnb. We've been I bought a feeler in it Friday, and then I added pretty big today. Had a really great entry. off these lows, off those 152.50 lows. Again, my stops 150, 150. So I only have $1 risk of this thing. I'm super heavy on that buy at least. You know, I'm already 350 in the money. So it extends tomorrow. I'll hit that 5-to-1 very quickly. I really like this Bumble going forward. I didn't get a chance to load up really because you have to give it so much risk. So I bought that 52.50 area. I'm still giving it to this 48 area. If it pulls into 52, I'll probably buy some more if I see a pivot. And then the big winner, well, the big two winners, big three winners. This DraftKings just coming out of the base, exploded. Had to give up like 40% of my stock because it just extended so much so quickly. But it definitely looks good going forward. This SE, I had a really, really nice entry. So this was earnings day right here. That was my first entry. I bought small, and I gave it the proper room. I have it circled on my screen here. And then it came down, pulled in, and turned this 306 area into new support. So I was actually buying 308 versus 306. You can't really tell because it doesn't have the dots, but I was selling, I'm selling 327 and 335 today. 308 versus 306, that's $2 risk. I'm selling some at 335 for $27. That's 13.5 to 1. That's just finding those tight entries off support in this uptrend has been where I've been killing it. That's really, really helped me. Did the same thing in that Airbnb as I did in that SE. And then the big winner was this Roblox. Crazy intraday. So you can see, I was buying this 81, 82 area, and I was kicking 89, 90. I pretty much kicked all that stock there, and I reloaded some today after it held that 80. But you go to the intraday, kind of one of the wildest happenings in my career, where I was sitting. I'll go to a 5-minute chart. Dude, I'm dropping Nugget off at daycare, and I'm looking at the intraday on August 23rd, where we started buying this thing. And I have 100K of stock, which is more of a feeler. And then I sit down at my seat literally 2 minutes before this explosive volume comes in. Mm-hmm. And between 81.75 and 82.50, I go from 100K to 500K long. Dude, I was sitting in traffic with Nugget, then it just clears out. Dropping Nugget off at daycare. If I'm 5 minutes late, if I move 5 minutes later, there's no way I can, get that sort of position. So God was on my side like crazy. And then you see the run, and I was taking off this 82, 83 stock at this 89.50, 89.90 area. And now, it's pulling in, and now we're looking to reload that area. So we reloaded this 81. So we'll see. It didn't close great, but definitely really looks good. God was seriously on my side for that one. And then last but not least was today with this Tesla. Let me try to find this. This Tesla is just a breakout trade. Now, it looks really good. It closed really well. You see the inside day. It had underneath resistance. I love that. Had to buy it off the open. Maybe I shouldn't be kicking stock today, but the reason I was is because I'm buying 717, and I have a bullshit low of day stop. So I know that's a low of day stop is bullshit and not very high probability. But so that means that when I'm right in the trade, I got to get some kicks off. So it worked out really well. I was able to sell some into strength. I probably sold half today. I'm sitting on half, and if it comes back, I still make money in the trade. But I know that I'm not giving this all the way to the last 697 pivot or whatever that is. I bought 717 with a 712 stop. So in Tesla, where each candle is like $5. So good trade there. Just simple little breakout trade. Very important. Oh, and let me go do the bad trade. This is what I really want to talk about. So this Roku. I've been messing this Roku up really hard, and I'll tell you why. So I had a nice little entry last week. I bought pretty close to the lows here. What'd I buy? Like 354-ish. And I'm giving it all the way down to this proper support, 340. So I'm giving it the proper room it needs because I know these bottom bounce setups, they're really tricky. It's not like a breakout trade where I can expect it to just go right away. Mm-hmm. So where I fucked up was, every time this thing pops, I was trying to add and then I keep it too tight and I'm getting out of that stock. So today it pops 360 and I add, it comes right back and I get out of those ads for a loss. And I'm just kind of trading, the range back and forth when I should just be sitting because I know this is a longer term setup. I should just be sitting with my stock and not over managing it. And because the other trades are going well, where I am managing them, much more acutely, much more micro, on a small time frame sense, that's probably what led me to mess up this Roku trade where I needed it to work now, but it's just not that setup. It's a longer term setup. So I was letting other trades affect this one, and I definitely messed that up. I should be sitting pretty with good stock, looking to add and give it room. Instead, every pop I was trying to add stock and keep it tight, which you can't do for these longer term setups. So that's it out of me. What you got going on?
So I have a quick little story when you mentioned DraftKings. I was talking with Kevin, one of Kevin's buddies. He's a cop in New York City, and this is like one of the probably luckiest traders I think I've spoke to in a while, where he is in this GNOG, G-N-O-G. DraftKings is actually buying them out at some point. I think in 2022, it's like an all stock deal.
Yeah,
it's an all stock deal. Typically in buyouts, again, a company like DraftKings is buying Golden Nugget. Typically, DraftKings would get smoked and Golden Nugget would gap up. But since it's an all-stock deal, DraftKings really isn't using much of their money. They both kind of are trading kind of in tandem. But the more important side of this is the guy I was speaking with was he started investing during the pandemic. He started with like $40,000 and he put it all into Caesars Entertainment, which was CZR. He bought this basically, I think he said he was like bought it at like 20, put like 40 grand in, got out of most of it near 100.
Yeah.
And then he took like the 40,000, turned into like 350 or 400,000. Maybe he bought like $10 because it was like 1,000% gain. It was something crazy. He takes this 40K, turns it to 400,000 in Caesars, literally he's his first trade ever, and then takes all of it and then buys this GNOG, another gambling name, and he buys this at I think it was 13. Like literally couldn't have been luckier. Like betting on snake eyes like 3 times in a row. He gets into this GNOG at like 12 or 13, gets this buyout news, and he's still in it. And now his like 40K is now 600,000. But he's like well aware of like how crazy this move, him turning basically 40K into 500,000 or 600,000 in the better part of a year in 2 trades is like, he knows, there's got to be kind of a time where he has to like get out of this stuff and then find safer things to do. Right. So we put like a stop in under 18 for the full position. And it was just like when you mentioned DraftKings, it was just like a funny story that he's like, yeah, I started with 40K and now I have 600,000 and I have this like tax bill that I don't know what to do with. And it's like, dude, you made 10x your money in a year. Like pay the taxes, let's move this into some conservative stuff. You made 10 years worth of your salary in a year. Let's protect it. Let's not give it away in the next gambling idea that probably won't pan out.
Well, no, next he's gonna buy Penn next.
Yeah, well, but it was just when you mentioned DraftKings, it was just a relevant story. But anyway, so the good and bad trade. Again, my focus recently has been support buybacks. I've been kind of avoiding some of the blue sky breakout trades. And so this past week I had kind of 4 different support buybacks. First one was this Micron, this MU. Again, we had a very good trade in AMD that went very well, and Micron kind of fell off the map. Bought up through this Micron through 72. Following day had a nice little move where it looked like it was actually going to get some legs behind it. Came right back. And again, like you mentioned, these kind of support buy trades, they're not as perfect as kind of buying those breakouts. And I wasn't really going to give this verse. I didn't really want to give a verse 68 after it quickly came back. Still now, it's still kind of trading a little bit higher, but I was fine with taking that off break even. Another one was this STZ. Again, we saw it coming into support versus like kind of 210 area, bought up through 216, and again, similar with this MU, the next day got a little bit of follow through, but not much. So this is again not something where this thing went, kind of $1.50, $2 in my favor, but I'm giving it $10 worth of room or $8 worth of room. It's just not really in my favor. This is another one, just took it off break even, and again, if I traded it properly, I would basically be getting stopped out tomorrow for that $8 loss. So those were 2 trades I was completely okay with just attempting that support buyback, but they just weren't ready. The 2 that had been working, and this kind of goes along with your story with kind of Roku when you try to adding too quickly to it, kind of similar with this match and then this alarm. Match, again, very good. I got a decent support buy up through this 135 versus kind of this 128, which has been like major support in the name. Again, the more attempts that the name has in major support, the more likely it's going to break lower, and we don't really want to see it perfectly touch 128, that major support. The more likely it's going to hit that, and you can buy that price, the more likely it's just going to get smoked lower. So it was good to kind of see it hold there quickly and kind of bounce back up. And the next little spot that I was keeping an eye on was this 142, kind of 145 area to add to it. And today I got triggered in up through that 142. And this is just reminding me of that Roku where, maybe this I shouldn't have added just yet. Maybe I should have just kept that 135 stock and let it trade a little bit more. But I did add to it. And if it does want to continue higher, I will look to add the 145, but I'll probably give it some time. I don't think if this goes tomorrow, I'll be just kind of blindly adding to it. So this is the name that I'm still in, and then this ALRM, Alarm Holdings, very similar to Match. It came into this major support, this 75 area. It was sold off 11 days in a row after earnings, came into support. We had that little kind of like doji at low, and it was a very simple trade. We want to buy above that high day with the stop below that prior low a day, and that was the trade. I bought up through 78 versus 75. It was $3 risk. Nice little move, a little 5-6 point move in my favor. And as it started to pull back in, it held 80, and I wanted to kind of buy through that high, that 83 area. So again, similar with Match, I added it to it today. Maybe with both these, maybe they were too early. Time will tell on that. But these were just two support buybacks that are currently working, while the other two didn't work, and just trying to add more to the ones that are working and get rid of the ones that aren't. So those were my main four for this past week or so.
All right, like it.
All right, so with that, we can get into book of the week.
Book of the week. I don't got a book. I got a podcast because I've been on the move too much. But ESPN dropped this 30 for 30 podcast on Nipsey Hussle called The King Crenshaw, and it just talks about how he's was the ultimate businessman and all these things. He was more focused on investing in real estate than gold chains and shit like that, is what he always said. So the podcast takes a deeper dive into his life. It's just really cool to see. Really tragedy that we lost him, but very, very good podcast. About 3.5 hours long of listening. Yeah, it's like four episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's fire. It was really good. So no book, I got a podcast for you, but you'll enjoy it. What you read it?
I remember there's a picture of his brother. I believe it's his older brother, and it's like Nipsey Hussle, with like a chain on or whatever, and his brother kind of in the background, and you can see his like on his jeans his key ring, and there's 100 different keys, and it's all the different business they had throughout. I guess it was Compton or whatever part of Los Angeles he was from, but you just see his keychain, and that was showing what they were, what they all were about and all the different businesses they.
I'll give you a quick wild story. I don't know if this is in the podcast or I heard. They were hustling, selling drugs and shit, out of his parents' house. They were doing it with their parents. They buried $250,000 in the mom's backyard, and they went to dig it up a year later, and it was all molded and it was all gone.
Oh God.
Crazy.
That's.
It's tough. It's tough. That's why we do go legal and put it in the bank.
Yeah. All right. So the book that I was reading that I finished this week was Mindset by Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck. You're better with the names than I am. The obvious part of the book is, again, talks the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. The obvious answer is you want to have a growth mindset. I think one of the cool little topics they talked about was how you, for one of them was about parenting and how you kind of congratulate your child when they do something well. And there's two kind of different ways to do it. One would be, you're so smart, and it wasn't really skill related, or you work so hard and that's why you achieved that good grade. And they ran a lot of these little kind of blind studies, and the students or children that were they were praised less. Well, the ones that were praised based off them getting the good grade, they were much less likely to want to try a harder task, or they would look for the easiest road, basically. Where the children who were kind of said, you definitely put in a lot of hard work, you definitely put in, you studied to get that good grade. Those were the students that were more open-minded to taking on harder challenges, take more advanced classes. They were more acceptable to critical feedback and things like that. And it was definitely an interesting book, for parents.
What about when they do bad? How do they punish them when they do bad? Do they whip out the bar of soap?
No, it was more so. It was just they gave a analogy of your daughter does gymnastics and she competes in her first competition and she clearly doesn't win, and there's going to be the parent who's going to say, you definitely deserve to win. You were the best one out there when in reality you weren't. And then there's the parent who's going to say, look, this was your first time competing. There's other children who've been competing for years. You did your best effort. It wasn't enough effort to win, and what you have to do to win or do better next time. You have to continue to work and practice, and that's the harder thing to say, is that you weren't the best out there. But that was to give them that honest feedback of, look, it's your first time competing. You're not going to win everything the first time you try it. Where more parents will kind of lean towards no, you were the best one, and those are just kind of some of the mindset stuff that I thought was very relevant. So that was just some of the notes I can remember from that book.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah. So I
Popping any kids out? You popping any kids out? You know these parenting books, huh?
No. That's it's just.
I don't know. I see a lot of beach pics playing a lot of wiffle ball out there. I don't know. The game's changed over there, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game's changed on your end too, but we won't say why.
This isn't about me.
Yeah. That's what I thought. But so this will be the last. This should be the last Shark Talk in this office. Again, moving in next week to the new office, so we'll see.
We gotta get that camera set up all nice.
Yeah, well, mine will be easy because my stuff doesn't matter. You're the only one who has all the crazy camera problems all the time.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, well, let's wrap this one up, huh?
Yeah.
Looks like we got all the info we need out of this. You guys want to like, subscribe, comment, ask us a question. We do this for y'all. I don't do it for me, that's for damn sure. So we'll catch you guys next week, all right?